Hello friends and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've got a super sweet and delicious card to share with you using some of my favorite products from scrapbook.com. So let's get into what we're using. We're using the Sugar Rush Rub-On Transfers, the Handful of Sweetness Shape Dies, the Nested White Arches Nested Die Set, the Wild Side Pattern Paper, and the Sugar Rush Pattern Paper Collection to pull everything from this card together. Let's talk a little bit about the pattern paper selections that we are going to be using. And from the Sugar Rush pattern paper pad, I am going to pull in a couple different items to work with. First, we're going to pull in the solid dark pink paper, the solid yellow paper. We're going to pull in the solid orange paper, and we are going to pull in the light pink paper as well. We're going to pull in some of the light purple paper that's included along with the light blue paper. So really all of those solid colors we're going to be using for this card. But then we're also going to be playing around with a couple different patterns from the set. I want to use this ice cream cone pattern paper as our background for our card, and I think it's going to really pull all of these colors in together. So as we move on to the next part of our card, we are going to also pull in a few papers from the Wild Side Pattern Paper Collection. And for this, I'm going to use 3 colors of brown, a light, medium, and dark brown tone. Using those Wild Side pattern papers and the solid colored papers that we pulled from the Sugar Rush pattern paper pad, I am going to die cut various elements from the Handful of Sweetness Shape Dies set that's going to help get the different elements of our card ready. Now, from those Wild Side earthy brown tones that we're going to be using, that's going to die cut out the hand along with some of the waffle chip pieces that are included with the shape die set. And then when we get into the more colorful tones, we're going to use this to put together our little cup of ice cream, along with using it for the fingernails of our hand holding the cup as well. I'm really trying to lean in and use a lot of these colors, and they're all going to come together and really pack a super vibrant punch. I'm trying to also sort of minimize the amount of space that the die cuts are occupying on my pieces of paper, because this is going to allow me to then go in and trim them really easily. And here you'll see all of my die cuts ready to go. Let's do a little bit of ink blending. So I have a 1+ shader brush. This is from Waffle Flower, and I am going to be using this to blend up the edges of our hand die cut from that lightest paper that we pulled from the Wild Side Pattern Paper Collection. Now do remember, I do have all of the products from today's video listed down below. So if I'm using any new inks or tools that might be something you want to add to your own stash, I've got it listed below for your shopping convenience. Now we're going to pull in some Party Dress Catherine Pooler ink to help blend the edges of our ice cream. For whatever reason with me, pink ice cream always sounds like a really fun color to do. So we're going to do that pink ice cream and then do it with a purple cup. That's going to be the base of where the ice cream is going to be held. So I'm using some pixie dust ink from Catherine Pooler Designs just to get a nice sort of transition of color on the edges to get some really good shadow work going with that blending. Now, after I'm done with pixie dust, I'm going to pull in a little bit of Fiesta Blue of Catherine Pooler using a different 1+ shader brush that's designated for those light blue tones. I'm just going to blend this on the top and the bottom of each of these stripes that are going to place so nicely on top of the purple ice cream cup. Now I'm going to do a little bit more blending. I'm actually going to have a candle in this ice cream cone, and it's going to be blue, so it's going to coordinate really nicely with those stripes. And I just think it's a little whimsical to have that candle in an ice cream cone. I mean, how fun is that? Now we're going to put a waffle chip into our cone as well, and what we're going to do with that is blend that up with that sandcastle ink, and we can now begin the process of adhering all of these little elements together. So I'm putting liquid adhesive using my Misty Precision Glue Press. I'm going to start putting our ice cream cup all together. So I've got an orange band that goes around the top of the cup, and then I'm going to use some liquid adhesive on our little pink ice cream scoop to start putting the different lines onto the ice cream. Now, One of the dies is they do have these detail lines that allows you to sort of see each of those individual swirls of the ice cream dollop. So I'm using a very little small amount of liquid adhesive to get each of those lines into place. Now I do put some liquid adhesive along the bottom of the ice cream dollop, and this is going to allow me to nest it inside of that ice cream cup and adhere it into place. I'm going to use more liquid adhesive to put each of the stripes down onto that purple ice cream cup. I'm so loving all of these super vibrant colors that are coming with this cup. I think that this is a really fun little element that we're going to add to our card. Now, part of what's included in the Handful of Sweetness shape die set is there's this fun little label that you can pop onto your ice cream cup. It's like a little scallop circle, and there is also a word that fits inside. It says yum, and I just think it is super cute, and I love that we're going to make it pop by using that yellow cardstock that we chose from earlier. Now, like I said, we are going to use a waffle chip to put into our little ice cream cone, so I am going to adhere the actual waffle cone crisscross on top of the base of the waffle cone chip. And then this is going to just adhere really nicely onto our little dollop of ice cream. This is looking so cute as everything is coming together. Just going to get that waffle chip nestled onto the bottom edge of our ice cream cup, and then I'm going to move on to assembling our little birthday candle with the tiniest little flame. I just think that this candle is such a fun, whimsical element. Now, of course, I wouldn't recommend leaving a candle in ice cream lit for too long, as ice cream does melt, so safety first, everybody. But now that we've got our little paper creation ready, we can start assembling it onto our hand. Now, the hand itself does require a little bit of finesse because there's a couple extra lines that you're going to want to include to make sure that each of those fingers is nice and defined. So I'm using a very small amount of liquid adhesive to put these lines into place so they really give each of the fingers a nice sort of separated area. What I recommend is scrapbook.com is so wonderful in including descriptive pictures on the back of their packaging that show you what these die cuts are supposed to look like when you assemble them. So definitely use those as a guide if you are putting this together, just to make sure you're putting each of those little lines into the appropriate position. Now, also included with the die set, we have little fingernails that you can put onto the hand, and I think that this is super fun if you include painted fingernails that match the color palette that you're going with. So of course, this hand has hot pink nails, and it's just going to work so nicely with our pink ice cream dollop. We're getting that candle nicely put into place, and oh my goodness, this element is just super cute. So we're going to then move on doing a little bit of a designated area that we can put our hand, and I'm going to use those nested wide arch dies. We are going to die cut out. There is an ice cream truck pattern paper included in the Sugar Rush stamp set. I knew I had to use this because this was just so perfect to include with this little die cut shape. And then we're also going to go one size larger of the wide nested arches because we are going to be able to frame the ice cream truck paper just to really make it pop. I love that we're going to frame it with that yellow cardstock because yellow doesn't really appear too much in the assembled die cut that we put together, just really in that yum word. So that yellow is going to add a fun extra pop to our card. Now I'm going to put some more liquid adhesive to the back of this wide nested arch die cut unit and then put it flush to the left side of our prepared pattern paper so that we can then begin the process of moving on to further card assembly. Now we're going to do a couple different things for sentiments for our card. The first is I'm a big sucker when it comes to word dies, and the Handful of Sweetness shape die set has this amazing sentiment that reads hooray. There's a shadow and then there is also the word itself, and we are absolutely going to use it. We're going to do the shadow from some mixed media white cardstock and then die cut the hooray word from the orange cardstock that we had pulled previously from the Sugar Rush pattern paper pad. Now I'm trying to use a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back of our hooray word die cut, and if I put a little too much, that's okay. I can always wipe it off a little bit with my fingers, and then using my scrapbook.com craft tweezers, I'm going to very carefully get my word into place onto the shadow die that's included. Now I'm want to pull in the Sugar Rush stamp set to also include a little bit of extra sentiments as well. So what we're going to do is stamp out a couple more sentiments to really amp up that whimsical factor of our card and have it just really pop with even more detail. So I'm going to stamp out sentiments that say hope your birthday is and then the word sweet, and I am going to stamp this out using some Pixie Dust Catherine Pooler Designs ink. This purple ink is going to contrast really nicely with the orange ink we used for Hooray. I'm going to use the coordinating dies to die cut out our sentiments, and then we can begin the process of using some different adhesives to put everything together. Now I'm using some 3mm foam strips on the back of the hand die cut that we assembled, along with some of our sentiments, including the Hooray die cut that we've prepared. These 3mm foam strips do such a fantastic job fitting into all the appropriate places. We're also going to use it on the back of our sweet die cut and the hope your birthday is die cut as well. These 3mm foam strips give so much fun dimension to your projects. I am such a fan of putting elements onto my cards with foam tape because it just really brings the attention to those elements when someone sees that card in person. I just think that this is coming together so cute, and I'm loving that our sentiment is going to read, "Hooray, hope your birthday is sweet." It's super fun, it's buildable, and I know whoever receives it is going to absolutely love it. Now, I thought it would be fun to add some Sugar Rush rub-on elements to our card, and I am just going to use some of these smaller rub-on embellishments. They almost look like sprinkles, but they also pull in different elements that you're going to find throughout the Sugar Rush paper pack and the whole Sugar Rush collection. So these rub-ons, they're really easy to use, especially because of how small they are. So I'm going to then go in and just sort of add them around the different elements that we've already put onto our panel using some 3mm foam tape to just give that extra embellishment. And these are really going to tie in nicely with all the colors that we've selected. Now, applying these rub-on transfers to our card, super easy. You use the included mini popsicle stick to just sort of rub each of the designs into place. And then once ready, you pull off the backing and you can move on to the next portion of your card. Now, I do have some of the scrapbook.com A2 card bases, which are already pre-scored. All I need to do is fold them in half. I like to reinforce it with a bone folder, and then I'm going to be able to pop on my card base onto my card panel, just sort of everything being one unit. I like to use liquid adhesive on the back of that card panel just to make sure that it's going to be nice and secure, and then also using that liquid adhesive gives me a little bit of extra wiggle room time to make sure that it's put into position appropriately. Finally, I am going to pull in some Pink and Main enamel shapes to put onto the card. These colors pop so perfectly with the different colors that we've already chosen for our card. I was so happy when I came across this collection in my stash because I knew immediately that I was going to have to use it for this card. It's just too perfect, and these little enamel dots and shapes work so nicely. I've got the round dots, I've got the diamonds, and it's just all coming together as like a perfect coordination. With my enamel dots all into place, I can finally say that this card is fully completed. I love all of these sweet elements, and I know whoever gets this card is definitely going to be having a super sweet birthday. Thank you so very much for stopping by my YouTube channel today for a little bit of extra sugary inspiration using my favorite new products from scrapbook.com. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiration, and be sure to follow me on all socials at Just a Note by Justin. Don't forget that all of the products used in today's video are linked in the description below. Using those videos do help support me as an artist at no additional cost to you. So thank you in advance for using them, and thank you for stopping by my channel. Goodbye.